My family told me and my disabled child were a total mood killer for their fancy resort getaway. Then my golden sister came begging for my emergency fund to fix her gambling mess. But she never knew what plan I had already put in motion. What if the people you called family built their perfect lives on your child's broken body, then asked you for a bailout? The glow of my phone cut through the stale apartment air, a stark contrast to the Caribbean sun beaming down on Charlotte. There she was, my sister, lounging in first class, a champagne flute raised, designer clothes screaming blessed. My blood ran cold, a familiar ache twisting in my gut. Caribbean, here we come. Blessed ain't in family vacation. My name is Avery, and I hadn't seen a family vacation in 3 years, not since the accident. Mom. Liam's voice pulled me back from the brink, soft from his bedroom. Can you help me with my shirt? I shoved my phone into my pocket. The image of Charlotte's carefree smile burned behind my eyelids and wheeled into Liam's room. My 10-year-old son wrestled with his school uniform, his wheelchair perfectly positioned by the bed, just as we practiced. Got it, buddy, I murmured, helping him with the buttons. Remember occupational therapy at 4 today? His eyes, so full of innocent hope, widened. Can we get ice cream after? I kissed his forehead, a silent promise hanging in the air. If you promise to do your stretches without complaining. My phone buzzed again. And again. The family group chat was exploding. Living your best life, sis. Mom, first class is the only class. Ethan, wait till you see the villa. Dad. I ignored the barrage, opening my laptop. A folder labeled Truth glowed on the screen. Inside, hundreds of files, meticulously organized by date. Videos, voice messages, medical bills, police reports. 2 years of careful, silent documentation. Mom. Liam called out again, his child's intuition piercing through my facade. You're doing that thing where you get quiet. I closed the laptop, a forced smile on my face. Just thinking about work, honey. Let's get you to school. Our morning routine was clockwork. Transfer to wheelchair, bathroom, breakfast, teeth, shoes. We'd mastered it like a dance, even if some days the music felt painfully off-key. As I loaded Liam's wheelchair into our modified van, Mrs. Davis from next door waved. Avery, did you see the news about that drunk driver getting 20 years? Justice served, right? My hands tightened on the wheelchair straps, the plastic digging into my skin. Sometimes justice takes longer than we'd like, I mumbled, a bitterness I couldn't quite mask. At Liam's school, I watched him will himself towards his friends. He was laughing, telling some joke that had them all giggling. My brave boy who never complained about the life that was stolen from him. My phone rang, startling me. Charlotte's face filled the screen. Avery. Her voice cracked, raw with a feigned desperation. I need you. I really messed up. A cold wave washed over me. This was it. What's wrong? I asked, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. I can't tell Mom and Dad. They'll kill me. I need money. 10,000. Please. You're my only hope. I sat in the van, letting her sobs wash over me. The same sister who stumbled behind the wheel that night. The one who let our parents cover it up. Who never once visited Liam in the hospital. 10,000, I repeated, keeping my voice neutral, almost bored. That's a lot of money, Charlotte. I know. But you got that inheritance from Aunt Carol, right? Please, Avery. I'm in trouble. Real trouble. Through the windshield, I watched Liam navigate the school's wheelchair ramp. The ramp our parents refused to help pay for. What kind of trouble? I asked, my gaze fixed on my son. I can't say over the phone. Can we meet, please? I'm desperate. I opened my truth folder on my phone, adding a voice memo. Charlotte call. Money request. April 15th. Where are you now? I pressed, already knowing the answer. Aren't you boarding your flight? I had to stay behind. Ethan doesn't know. Nobody knows. Avery, these people, they're dangerous. I need the money by tomorrow. My finger hovered over a document titled Casino Debts SF. I'd been building this case piece by piece, waiting for the right moment, waiting for her to crack. Okay, I said softly, a calm spreading through me. Let's meet. Tell me where. She named a coffee shop downtown, her voice thick with relief. Thank you, Avery. I knew I could count on you. You've always been the good one. I ended the call and opened my messages to Brooke. It's happening. She finally slipped. The response was immediate. The PI found something big. Come to the office, ASAP. I started the van, glancing one last time at Liam through the school windows. He was showing his friends some new trick with his wheelchair, his smile bright enough to light up the room. Charlotte's Caribbean selfie still glowed on my phone. Such a perfect life. Such a perfect lie. I thought of the dashcam footage Brooke mentioned last week, supposedly recovered from that night. The night Charlotte got behind the wheel, giggling, while Ethan egged her on. The night they left my son paralyzed and drove away. I typed one last message to my sister. Of course I'll help. That's what family is for. Then I drove to meet Brooke and Marcus, ready to start dismantling the house of cards my family built on my son's broken bones. Charlotte was already at the coffee shop when I arrived, her designer sunglasses hiding what I assumed were tears. She'd chosen a corner table, far from the windows. Smart move for someone hiding from debt collectors. You look terrible, I said, sliding into the seat across from her. She pulled off her sunglasses, revealing mascara-stained cheeks. I haven't slept in 3 days. Tell me what's going on. I need you to promise you won't judge me. Her hands shook as she clutched her untouched latte. And you can't tell anyone, especially not Mom and Dad. Like how they didn't tell anyone about the accident? Her head snapped up. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, I shrugged. Just tell me about the money. She leaned forward, voice dropping to a whisper. I've been gambling online mostly. Started small, but then I found this exclusive site, high-stakes stuff. I was winning at first. Avery. God, I was winning so much. Until you weren't. I borrowed money from people you don't want to borrow from. She grabbed my hand, her grip desperate. They're threatening to tell Ethan. To tell everyone. They'll hurt me. Avery, please. I extracted my hand from hers. How much do you really owe? 10,000 would cover the immediate total, Charlotte. How much? She stared into her coffee. 150,000. I let that number hang between us. The same amount our parents offered me to sign that gag order after the accident. The money I'd refused. Does Ethan know? No. God, no. He thinks I'm at the resort with Mom and Dad. I told him I'd catch up tomorrow, that I had a charity event today. My phone buzzed. A text from Brooke. You need to see this footage. Now. I need time to think about this, I told Charlotte. The inheritance money isn't just sitting in my account. I don't have time. Her voice cracked, bordering on hysterical. They want the first payment by midnight. Please, Avery. I've never needed anyone like I need you right now. I stood up, my voice cold, cutting through her pleas. That's not true, Charlotte. You needed me the night you got behind the wheel drunk. You needed me when Liam was in surgery. You needed me every time you chose to look away. Her face went pale. Why are you bringing that up now? Because debts always come due, one way or another. I left her there, crying into her expensive latte, and drove straight to Brooke's office. She was waiting with Marcus, my lawyer, both looking grim. Watch this, Brooke said, turning her monitor toward me. The grainy dashcam footage showed a familiar street. Charlotte stumbling out of the restaurant, Ethan's arm around her waist, both laughing. I can totally drive. Charlotte's voice, slurred but clear. Show them how it's done, babe. Ethan, pushing the keys into her hand. I gripped the desk, my knuckles white, as the footage continued. The swerving. The sickening impact. Then Ethan's voice, panicked. Oh. Drive. Just drive. Marcus paused the video. This was recovered from a rideshare driver's dashcam. He was parked across the street that night. Never came forward because your father's firm had connections to his employer. But now he's retired, Brooke added, and feeling guilty. My phone lit up with texts from Charlotte. Please call me back. I'm begging you. They're going to hurt me. What's our next move? I asked Marcus, my voice steady despite the rage boiling inside me. We file tomorrow. The gambling debts actually help us. Shows a pattern of reckless behavior. The timing's perfect. I thought of Liam, who would be finishing school soon, who still sometimes asked why Aunt Charlotte never visited anymore. Do it, I said. File everything. Brooke touched my arm, her expression cautious. Are you sure? Once this starts. My family spent 3 years pretending nothing happened. I cut her off, my voice rising. They holiday in the Caribbean while I take my son to physical therapy. They deserve everything that's coming.
My phone rang.
Mom's face appearing on screen. I answered on speaker. Avery, your sister is hysterical. What did you say to her? Nothing she didn't need to hear. She says you threatened her. After everything we've done for you. Everything you've done for me? I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. Tell me, Mom, how's the resort? Is the view as nice as it looks in Charlotte selfies? Don't be bitter, Avery. You know we couldn't bring Liam. The resort isn't equipped. I met Brooke's eyes as she handed me the final lawsuit documents. You're right, Mom. It's time everyone was properly equipped to handle the truth. I hung up and signed my name on the dotted line, remembering Charlotte's words from the coffee shop. I've never needed anyone like I need you right now.
She was wrong about that, too.
She needed me to finally make her pay. I watched the dashcam footage for the 6th time in Marcus's office. Each viewing made my hands shake harder. The way Charlotte laughed before the impact, the sound of screeching tires, Ethan's voice urging her to flee. The statute of limitations hasn't run out, Marcus said, closing his laptop. And with this evidence, plus the gambling debts showing an ongoing pattern of reckless behavior. My phone buzzed.
Charlotte again.
They're sending people to my house, please. I'm scared. She's spiraling, Brooke said, reading over my shoulder. How much do you want to bet those gambling debts are way more than she's admitted? Call Uncle David, I told her, a cold resolve settling in my chest. He's always been the family gossip. Tell him you're a concerned friend who overheard something at the country club about Charlotte's gambling. Brooke grinned, already dialing. She put it on speaker. David speaking. Hi, I'm so sorry to bother you. Brooke's voice dripped with practiced concern. I'm a member at Rolling Hills and I overheard something disturbing about your niece, Charlotte. About some dangerous people she's involved with. What kind of people? His interest was immediate. Oh, I shouldn't say more. I know how respected your family is. I'd hate for anything to damage that reputation. 20 minutes after hanging up, my father called. What's this about your sister gambling? His voice was tight with anger. Why don't you ask her? I kept my tone neutral, almost casual. Oh, wait. She's supposed to be with you in the Caribbean. Don't get smart with me, Avery. If you know something, like how you knew something the night of Liam's accident, that kind of something. Silence crackled over the line. We did what was best for everyone, he finally said, his voice laced with the familiar self-preservation. The settlement, the hush money. You mean the money I refused? You're still angry. I understand that. But dragging up the past. The past. I laughed, the sound hollow. Dad, I live the past every day. Every time I lift Liam into his wheelchair. Every time he asks why his legs won't work. Every time Charlotte posts another perfect Instagram photo pretending she's not a drunk driver who destroyed her nephew's life. That's enough, he barked, his control slipping. What do you want? I want justice. Justice.
He scoffed.
You want revenge? Maybe they're the same thing. Marcus gestured at his watch. The court filing deadline was approaching. Dad, I said softly, my voice taking on an almost melancholic quality. Remember when I was 7 and you taught me to swim? You said the trick was to not fight the water, to work with it until it carried you where you needed to go. What's your point? I'm not fighting anymore. I'm letting the truth carry us all where we need to go. I hung up as Brooke's computer pinged. An email from Palm's insurance company. Preliminary settlement offer. Personal injury claim. 7 figures. Marcus whispered, scanning the document. They're scared. My phone exploded with texts from Charlotte. Please call me back. I'm begging you. They're outside my house. Why aren't you answering? I'll tell everyone you abandoned me. You're just jealous of my life. I forwarded the text to Marcus, who added them to our evidence file. Each desperate message was another nail in her coffin. Mom's calling, I told them, showing the screen. Answer it, Marcus advised. Record everything, Avery. Mom's voice was shrill, laced with panic. Your sister says you're threatening her, that you're trying to destroy the family.
No, Mom.
The family destroyed itself the night they left my son bleeding on the pavement. We paid for his medical bills. We tried to help. You tried to buy my silence. There's a difference. What do you want from us? She was crying now, real tears this time.
Money?
Is that it? Your father will write a check. I want Charlotte to say it, to admit what she did, to look Liam in the eye and tell him why she drove away. That would kill her career, her marriage, everything she's built, everything she built on my son's broken bones. Silence. The lawsuit files in 30 minutes, I said, a chilling finality in my voice. Maybe call your perfect daughter and tell her to prepare for some real consequences for once. I ended the call and looked at Marcus. Do it. He pressed send on the court filing. Somewhere across town, my sister's phone would be lighting up with legal notifications. My parents would be getting frantic calls from their lawyers. Ethan would be wondering why his wife never made it to the Caribbean. What now? Brooke asked, her eyes wide with a mix of awe and trepidation. My phone buzzed one final time. A text from Charlotte. You were always jealous. Always the victim. I should have driven back and finished the job. I showed the message to Marcus, who added it to our file. Now, I smiled a slow, dangerous smile. Now we watch it all burn. I might be able to help you. I told Charlotte over the phone, my voice feigning concern. She'd been calling nonstop since the lawsuit notification, alternating between threats and desperate pleas. But I need to know exactly what kind of trouble you're in. I put her on speaker while Brooke recorded. You do that? Hope, a fragile, desperate thing, crept into her voice. After everything?
Family is family, right?
That's what Mom always says. God, Avery, thank you. I knew you'd understand. Tell me about the gambling. All of it. She hesitated. It's complicated. Try me. There's this site, playersparadise.com. Private tables, high stakes. I was winning at first, I swear. But then this guy, he said he could get me better odds if I played through his private server. And you believed him? He seemed legitimate. He had references, other players. She paused, a catch in her breath. I lost. Big. Then he offered to let me play on credit. How much, Charlotte? 300,000. I let the number hang there. Twice what she'd admitted at the coffee shop. These people, she continued, a genuine tremor in her voice, they know where I live. They know about Ethan, about Mom and Dad. One of them said they'd break my legs if I didn't pay. Like Liam's legs?
What?
Why would you? Her voice hardened, a flash of the old defensiveness. Is that what this is about? You're still obsessed with the accident? The hit and run, you mean? Stop it. I need help. And you're playing games. No games, just truth. Finally, my other phone lit up. Ethan calling. I switched lines. What the hell is going on? He demanded, already sounding frantic. I'm getting calls about a lawsuit. Ask your wife about the gambling debts. Ask her where she really is right now. What gambling? He stopped, a beat of stunned silence. Charlotte's not at the resort. Check your joint accounts, Ethan. Check them now. I heard typing, then a sharp intake of breath. Oh my God. Oh my God. While you're at it, ask her about the dashcam footage from the night of the accident. The one where you told her to drive. Away from my son. The line went dead. Brooke's computer pinged. An email from a local news station requesting comment on the lawsuit. It was starting.
My phone buzzed again.
Charlotte. Ethan's threatening divorce. You ruined everything. I texted back. No, You did that yourself. One bad choice at a time. Then came the voicemail. Charlotte sobbing. I'm going to kill myself. I'm in the bathroom with pills. This is your fault. All your fault. I forwarded it to Brooke, who made a call. 5 minutes later, she confirmed. Police did a welfare check. She's at Starbucks, very much alive, making a scene. Mom was next. Your sister is having a breakdown in public. Are you happy now? Was I happy when Liam had his breakdown? When he realized he'd never walk again? That's different. You're right. That was real.
The calls kept coming.
Uncle David. Do you know what this will do to the family name? Aunt Jennifer. Your poor sister. How could you? I blocked them all, one by one, like cutting dead branches from a dying tree. Marcus called with updates. The lawsuit was gaining traction. Local news had picked up the story. Social media was buzzing. Then came Charlotte's Instagram post. A perfectly staged photo of pills scattered across a marble counter. Caption. Goodbye, cruel world. I'm sorry I wasn't perfect enough for some people. Comments flooded in. Stay strong. We love you. Your sister is so toxic. I screenshot everything for the file. Brooke texted. Check Twitter. Charlotte Marshall was trending. Her followers were split. Half supporting her victim narrative, half digging up old posts about her luxury lifestyle. Someone had found a video from 3 months ago, Charlotte drunk at a charity gala, joking about, that time I totally crashed my car but daddy fixed it. The dominoes were falling. My phone lit up with an unknown number. Is this Avery? A man's voice, professional. I'm from TMZ. We'd like to talk about your sister's hit-and-run incident. No comment, I said, then paused. But you might want to look into playersparadise.com. Ask about their high roller tables. More calls, more messages, more chaos. Finally, a text from Ethan. I checked the accounts. She emptied everything, even Liam's trust fund. I smiled. We'd moved that money months ago, waiting for exactly this. Brooke brought me coffee as we watched Charlotte's carefully curated world implode in real time. You okay? She asked. I showed her my phone, a photo Liam had just sent from his school's science fair. He was beaming, proudly displaying his first-place ribbon. I'm perfect, I said. For the first time in years, everything's exactly how it should be. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Charlotte. Please, I'll do anything. I replied. I know. That's the problem. The family estate looked exactly as I remembered. Pristine lawns, marble columns, suffocating perfection. Mom's text had been clear. Family intervention. 7 p.m.
Be there.
I wheeled Liam up the newly installed ramp. Funny how they'd managed that just hours after the lawsuit made headlines. You sure about this, buddy? I asked him. He squeezed my hand. I'm not scared of them anymore, Mom. Inside, they were all arranged in the formal living room like actors in a bad play. Mom perched on her favorite armchair. Dad standing behind her. Ethan slouched in a corner, avoiding everyone's eyes. And Charlotte, mascara-stained and trembling, sat in the center of the sofa. Avery, Mom stood. And Liam, we didn't expect. Didn't expect my son at a family meeting? Charlotte wouldn't look at Liam. She never did. Please sit. Dad gestured, his voice strained. We need to discuss this situation like adults. I positioned Liam's wheelchair next to me on the Persian rug that probably cost more than his last surgery. Charlotte, Mom began, her voice dripping with artificial concern. We're here because we love you. Your gambling addiction. Oh, now it's an addiction? I interrupted, my voice sharp. Not just her being spirited or living life to the fullest, like when she drove drunk. That's not what this is about. Mom snapped, her facade cracking. It's exactly what this is about. I pulled out a manila envelope. Everything's connected. Charlotte finally spoke, her voice cracking. What's in there? The truth. Every receipt, every text, every security camera footage from that night. The dashcam video of you laughing while you drove away from my son. You're lying, she whispered, her eyes wide with terror. I slid out a photo. Her car, front end damaged, hidden in Uncle David's garage the day after the accident. David promised he destroyed those, Dad said quietly, his face paling. David got sloppy after his third divorce, I countered. Amazing what his ex-wife kept in her files. Ethan pushed off from the wall, looking for an escape route. I should go. Sit down, I ordered. You're in these photos, too. Remember holding Charlotte's hair back while she vomited in the garage? Right after you told her to flee the scene? He sank back down, defeated. What do you want? Mom's voice shook, a desperate plea.
Money?
We can pay. I want her to look at him. I pointed at Liam. I want her to finally look at what she did. Charlotte's eyes darted to Liam, then quickly away. Look at him. I can't, she screamed, covering her face. Why not? Because I was supposed to be perfect. The perfect daughter, the perfect wife, the perfect social media influencer. And I ruined it. Is that what you want to hear? Liam spoke up then, his voice clear and strong, cutting through the tense air. I forgive you, Aunt Charlotte. The room froze. What? She whispered. I forgive you. Not because you deserve it, but because hating you is exhausting. Charlotte crumpled, sliding to the floor, finally broken.
I'm sorry, God. I'm so sorry.
Sorry doesn't fix his legs, I said, pulling out more documents. But this might help others. Dad recognized the paperwork first. You're not just suing us. You're going after the country club that served her alcohol, the valet who gave her keys back, our lawyer who covered it up. Everyone who helped hide the truth. Every single one. Mom lunged forward, hand raised to slap me. I caught her wrist, my grip firm. Try it, I said softly, dangerously. Give me one more thing to add to the lawsuit. Ethan's phone buzzed. He checked it, face paling. TMZ just ran the story with the dashcam footage. Charlotte screamed, scrambling for her phone. Her Instagram followers were already dropping by the thousands. Your choice, I told them all, my voice calm and unwavering. We can settle this quietly with a full confession, compensation for Liam's ongoing care, and a substantial donation to drunk driving prevention programs. Or what? Dad demanded, his bravado gone. Or I let the media dig deeper. They're very interested in the family that covered up a hit and run. I hear Netflix is already calling about rights to the story. Mom collapsed into her chair, defeated. You're destroying us. No, Liam said, his small voice echoing in the silent room.
You destroyed yourselves.
Mom's just turning on the lights. I handed each of them a document. Sign the settlement by midnight, or tomorrow I give my first television interview. You wouldn't, Charlotte breathed, her voice barely a whisper. I stood, gripping Liam's wheelchair handles. 3 years ago, I begged you to take responsibility. You chose image over truth. Now I choose justice over family. We turned to leave. Behind us, I heard papers rustling, Mom crying, Charlotte's broken whispers. At the door, Liam looked back. By the way, Aunt Charlotte, he said, a hint of steel in his voice, those casino guys you're scared of? Mom already reported them to the FBI. You're welcome. We left them there, surrounded by their shattered perfection, finally facing the truth they'd tried so hard to bury. My phone buzzed. Marcus texting. TMZ story hitting 1M views. You ready for tomorrow? I looked at Liam, who smiled and nodded. Ready, I typed back. Time to tell our story. The morning after the intervention, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Hashtag Justice for Liam was trending. Charlotte's Instagram followers had dropped by 500,000 overnight. 3 brands had already dropped her sponsorship deals. Mom, Liam called from the living room. We're on TV. The local news was running the dashcam footage on a loop. Charlotte stumbling to the car. Ethan laughing. The impact. The escape. My phone rang. Ethan. Make it stop, he pleaded, his voice desperate. My company's board is meeting this afternoon. They're talking about moral character clauses in my contract. Karma's interesting, isn't it? I'll testify, he said quickly. Against Charlotte about everything. The drinking, the cover-up, your father's bribes to the police. Send it in writing to Marcus. Every detail. He hung up as another call came in. Charlotte's agent. Listen, she started, her voice dripping with insincerity. This could work for everyone. Charlotte does a tearful interview, admits her mistakes, starts a foundation for drunk driving victims. People love redemption stories. My son's paralysis isn't your client's redemption arc. Think about it, Oprah. I hung up. Brooke arrived with coffee and news. Your parents' country club suspended their membership. Your dad's law firm partners are calling an emergency meeting. And Charlotte's being dropped from the hospital charity board. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Your father's having chest pains. Are you happy now? I showed Brooke, who snorted. Classic manipulation. Wanna bet he's perfectly fine? Mom. Liam wheeled over, a new urgency in his voice. Someone's at the door. Through the window, I saw Charlotte standing on our porch. No makeup, wearing sweatpants. I'd never seen her like this. Stay here, I told Liam and opened the door. They're going to arrest me, she blurted out, her voice raw. The police reopened the case. Ethan's talking to them. Good. Please. She grabbed my arm, her grip surprisingly strong. I'll lose everything. Like Liam lost his ability to walk? I'll do anything. I'll confess. I'll pay whatever you want. You had 3 years to do that. She sank to her knees, looking utterly broken. They're saying I could get 5 years. Actual prison. Me. The average sentence for hit and run with serious injury is 8 to 15 years, I stated calmly. Dad's legal connections got you a deal last time. Not anymore. Avery, please. We're sisters. We stopped being sisters the moment you drove away. My phone buzzed. Marcus calling. I left her crying on the porch. The DA wants to meet, he said. They're considering criminal charges against her father, too. Obstruction of justice. Witness tampering. Good, I replied. Avery, he hesitated. Your mother's doing an interview right now. Local news. It's not good. I switched on the TV. There was Mom, perfectly coiffed, tears strategically falling. My daughters were always so close, she was saying. But Avery, after the accident, she changed, became bitter, obsessed with revenge. We tried to help, offered money, but she wanted to destroy our family. Liam wheeled closer. Grandma's lying again. Yes, she is. Why do they keep lying? Because the truth hurts more than they can handle. My phone exploded with notifications. Mom's interview was backfiring spectacularly. Social media was shredding her, calling out her victim blaming and manipulation. Another text from Ethan. Charlotte overdosed. She's at Memorial Hospital. Real or fake this time? Brooke asked, reading over my shoulder. I called the hospital. Hi, my sister Charlotte was supposedly brought in for an overdose. Oh, Mrs. Marshall. She's in the cafeteria getting coffee. Would you like me to transfer you? I hung up. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Dad, looking aged and desperate. The firm voted, he said quietly, his shoulders slumped. They're asking me to retire. 30 years of partnership. Actions have consequences. I was protecting our family.
No.
I showed him my phone, a photo of Liam in his hospital bed after the accident. You were protecting your reputation. There's a difference. He stared at the photo, finally seeing what he tried so hard to ignore. What do you want? He asked, defeated, his voice a whisper. I want you all to face what you did. Really face it. No more cover-ups, no more lies, no more perfect family facade. And then justice takes its course for all of you. He nodded slowly, turned to leave, then stopped. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Not for protecting Charlotte, but for failing you. For failing Liam. I know, I said, my voice softer now, tinged with a weariness that went bone deep. But sorry isn't enough anymore. I closed the door and held Liam close, watching through the window as my father walked away, shoulders bent under the weight of consequences too long delayed. My phone buzzed one last time. The DA's office. Press conference tomorrow. Be ready. We were ready. We'd been ready for 3 years. The courthouse steps were packed with reporters. Liam gripped my hand as we made our way through the crowd, his wheelchair expertly handled by Brooke. Mrs. Marshall, any comment on your sister's arrest? Is it true your father's firm covered up the accident? Marcus met us at the entrance. Charlotte's inside. She took the plea deal. How long? I asked, my voice flat. 3 years, with possibility of parole after 18 months. Plus restitution. That's it. She agreed to testify against your father. The DA is more interested in the cover-up conspiracy than the original crime. Inside the courtroom was standing room only. Charlotte sat at the defendant's table wearing a beige dress that probably cost more than my car. No makeup, no jewelry. Her lawyer had clearly coached her on appearing humble. Mom and Dad sat in the front row, both looking shell-shocked. Ethan was nowhere to be seen. All rise. The judge entered, and the proceedings began. I squeezed Liam's shoulder as Charlotte approached the podium. Would you please state your name for the record? Charlotte Marie Marshall. And you understand the terms of your plea agreement? Yes, Your Honor. Please tell the court in your own words what happened on the night of April 12th, 3 years ago. Charlotte gripped the podium, her voice shaking. I was drinking at Le Mans restaurant, celebrating a new sponsorship deal. I had too much champagne. Ethan and I were arguing about who should drive, and then I got behind the wheel. Ethan was encouraging me, saying I was fine. We were both so stupid. She wiped her eyes, a performance for the court, maybe a little real. I didn't see the kid on his bike until it was too late. The kid has a name, I said loudly, unable to hold back. The judge looked at me. Ma'am, please. His name is Liam, Charlotte continued, her voice trembling. My nephew. I hit him, and I drove away. Ethan told me to keep driving. Said Dad would fix everything. And he did. They all did. They helped me hide what I'd done. The courtroom buzzed with whispers. And the subsequent cover-up? Dad paid off the investigating officer. Mom convinced Avery to keep quiet, offered her money. Uncle David hid my car. Everyone knew, but no one said anything. Why come forward now? The judge asked. Charlotte looked at me for the first time, her eyes, red-rimmed, meeting mine. Because my sister was braver than all of us. She refused to let us bury the truth. The judge reviewed the plea agreement. Miss Marshall, this court sentences you to 3 years in state prison, with eligibility for parole after 18 months. You will pay restitution of $2 million to the victim's family. Yes, Your Honor. Additionally, you will provide full testimony against all parties involved in the cover-up conspiracy. Failure to cooperate will void your plea agreement. 2 officers approached with handcuffs. Wait. Charlotte turned to us, a desperate plea in her eyes. Liam, I'm so sorry, Avery. Take her into custody, the judge ordered, his voice firm. As they led Charlotte away, Mom stood up, screaming. This isn't justice. This is revenge. Mrs. Marshall, the judge warned, control yourself or be held in contempt. Dad pulled her back down, his face ashen. His own arraignment was scheduled for next week. Outside, the media frenzy had doubled. Cameras flashed as Charlotte was led to a waiting police car. Avery, a reporter thrust a microphone at me. How do you feel about the sentence? I looked at Liam, who nodded. My son will never walk again. 3 years seems light. But this was never about punishment. It was about truth. No more lies. No more cover-ups. And your parents, will you support their prosecution? Actions have consequences, I stated, my voice ringing clear, even for the rich and powerful. Brooke helped us navigate through the crowd to our van. As we pulled away, I saw Mom crying on the courthouse steps. Dad trying to shield her from cameras. Mom? Liam asked quietly, his small hand finding mine. Are you okay? I touched his cheek. I'm perfect, buddy. How about ice cream? Can we get some for Aunt Charlotte? For when she's allowed visitors? My throat tightened. Yeah, I managed a lump forming. We can do that. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Turning myself in tomorrow. Liam deserves the whole truth. I'm sorry it took so long. Then from Dad. The firm's internal investigation found evidence of other cover-ups. I'm cooperating fully. You were right. It's time for truth. Brooke showed me her phone. Charlotte's perky social media empire had been replaced with a single post. 3 years ago, I made the worst mistake of my life. Then I made it worse by hiding it. To my nephew Liam, I'm finally facing what I did. I hope someday you can forgive me. To my sister Avery, thank you for being strong enough to break our family's cycle of lies. At the ice cream shop, Liam got chocolate with extra sprinkles. As he ate, a young mother approached our table. Are you Avery? I saw you on the news. My brother was hit by a drunk driver last year. Thank you for fighting. Thank you for showing us that the truth matters. I watched her walk away, then looked at my son, my brave, beautiful boy, who had taught me that justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just quietly insists on being heard. The moving truck pulled away from our new house, leaving Liam and me standing in the driveway. Single story, wheelchair accessible, with a garden out back. Everything we needed, nothing we didn't. Ready to see your room? I asked. Race, you there? He wheeled ahead, expertly navigating the wide hallways we'd specifically designed. My phone buzzed. Brooke sending a news update. Dad's sentencing was complete. 18 months for conspiracy and obstruction. Mom got probation and community service. The family's reputation was in tatters, but at least the truth was finally out. Mom, Liam called. There's a letter. On his new desk sat a cream-colored envelope. Prison stationery. Want me to read it? I asked. He nodded. Dear Liam, I began. The prison library has a program where we read to kids at the children's hospital. Kids like you were after the accident. Every time I read to them, I think about what I took from you. What my cowardice cost our family. The doorbell rang. Brooke stood there with a box of pizza and a folder. The foundation paperwork is ready, she said, following us to the kitchen. Just need your signature to make it official. I signed where she pointed. The Liam Marshall Foundation for Accident Victims was now real. Did you tell him about the first recipient? She asked. Liam looked up from his pizza. Tell me what? I pulled out my phone, showing him the application. Remember Tommy from your physical therapy group? His family is struggling with medical bills. We're going to help them. His eyes lit up. Really? Can I tell him? It's your foundation, buddy. You can do whatever you want. My phone buzzed again. A text from Ethan. The divorce is final. Signed over my half of everything to Liam's foundation. It's not enough, but it's a start. Another message popped up. Mom, the country club board meeting went as expected. They're renaming the annual charity gala. It's now the Liam Marshall Benefit for Accident Survivors. I showed Brooke, who snorted. Amazing how generous people get when their reputations are at stake. As long as the money helps someone, I don't care why they give it. Liam wheeled to the window overlooking his garden. Can we plant those special flowers? The ones that bloom at night. Moonflowers? Sure. Aunt Charlotte used to have those, he said quietly. Remember, in her fancy garden? I knelt beside his wheelchair. Do you want to visit her? He nodded. She writes me every week. Her letters aren't fake anymore. They're real. Like this house, I said. No more pretending. No more perfect facades. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Marcus, carrying files. Final paperwork from the civil suit, he said. The insurance company paid out everything. Your parents' firm is settling, even the restaurant where Charlotte was drinking that night. Good, I said. It all goes to the foundation. Mom, Liam called from his room. Can you help me hang this? He held up a framed photo. Our old family portrait from before the accident. Everyone's smiling. Perfect. Fake. Are you sure that's the one you want? He shook his head and pulled out another photo. Him and me at his science fair. Both grinning real grins, his wheelchair visible and unashamed. This is better, he said. This is true. My phone lit up with a final text from Charlotte. My cellmate's daughter is paralyzed. I'm teaching her mom about resources, support groups. Everything I should have learned from Liam. Thank you for making me face this, for making me better. I deleted the message without responding. Some bridges take longer to rebuild. Hey, Mom. Liam called. Can we order one of those special gaming chairs? The kind that lets me play basketball in virtual reality. Already did. Should be here next week. He beamed. Our new house is perfect. Not perfect, I corrected.
Real.
There's a difference. Brooke helped us unpack boxes while Marcus sorted paperwork. Outside, the moving truck had left tracks in our new driveway. Marks that would fade with time, like all scars do. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from an unknown number. Saw your story online. My brother's drunk driving case got buried by rich lawyers. Can you help? I showed it to Marcus, who nodded. The Foundation's legal aid program starts next month. I typed back. Yes, truth matters. Justice matters. Let's talk. Liam wheeled over with his science homework. Mom, will you help me with my project? It's about action and reaction. How everything we do has consequences. I hugged him close, breathing in the scent of his hair. Yeah, buddy. I know exactly what you mean. We sat together in our real house, with our real lives, finally free from the weight of other people's lies. Not perfect. Not pristine. Just true. And that was everything. Okay, here we go. It's hard to believe how much has happened since that text. That single, unassuming message that landed in my inbox, the one asking for help. It was just an unknown number, a desperate plea from a stranger, but it felt like a door opening. A door to the next chapter of our lives, not just Liam's and mine, but for so many others. Yes, truth matters. Justice matters. Let's talk. I typed that message, looking at Liam, lost in his science homework, his small face scrunched in concentration. He was working on a project about action and reaction, about how everything we do has consequences. How incredibly fitting. Brooke and Marcus were still here, boxes half unpacked, legal documents sprawled across our brand new kitchen island. They were tired, but there was a spark in their eyes, too. The fight might have been won, but the war, the real war against ignorance and recklessness, was just beginning. The woman who texted me, Sarah, called a few hours later. Her voice was hesitant at first, then gained strength as she spoke. Her brother, Michael, had been hit by a drunk driver almost 5 years ago. Paralysis, just like Liam. The driver? A prominent city councilman's son. The case had been buried, witnesses intimidated, evidence conveniently lost. It was eerily similar to our own story, a chilling echo. But unlike Sarah, I had Brooke and Marcus, and now, the Liam Marshall Foundation. The next few months were a whirlwind. Sarah's case became our first major project. It was a baptism by fire for the foundation. We quickly realized that while we had won a battle, the system was still rigged against people like Michael and Liam. The councilman and his son were powerful, well-connected. They had lawyers who specialized in making problems disappear. But what they didn't have was a mother who'd face down her own family to get justice for her son, backed by a legal team hungry for a real win, and an advocate like Brooke, who had a knack for sniffing out corruption. Brooke, bless her relentless heart, dove into Michael's case like a pit bull with a bone. She unearthed old police reports, cross-referenced them with news archives, and found discrepancies that screamed cover-up. Marcus, ever the strategist, saw the parallels to our case and methodically began to dismantle their defense, piece by piece. We held press conferences, but this time, the narrative was different. It wasn't just my story. It was their story, a story of systemic injustice. Sarah, a quiet, reserved woman, found her voice. She stood beside me, trembling but resolute, telling her brother's truth to anyone who would listen. Liam was my anchor through it all. He was thriving in our new house, enjoying the freedom of wider doorways and accessible spaces. His science project, the one about action and reaction, evolved into a deeper exploration of human behavior and accountability. He became surprisingly involved with the Foundation's work, asking insightful questions, even offering ideas. He even suggested that we create a section on the Foundation's website where people could anonymously share their stories. So they know they're not alone, Mom, he'd said, his eyes earnest. My heart swelled. He wasn't just a victim. He was becoming a beacon. The case of Michael versus the councilman's son eventually went to trial. It was grueling, relentless battle in the courtroom and in the media. The defense tried every trick in the book, discrediting Sarah, twisting facts, even attempting to portray Michael as partially responsible. But we were ready. We had the dashcam footage from our case, a chilling precedent that underscored how powerful families covered up drunk driving incidents. And then, a breakthrough. A former police officer, inspired by our public campaign, came forward with information about the original investigation being deliberately stalled. The dominoes, once again, began to fall. When the verdict came down, guilty on all counts, significant restitution, and a prison sentence, the courtroom erupted. Sarah collapsed into my arms, sobbing tears of relief. It wasn't just a win for Michael. It was a win for every voiceless victim who had been crushed by money and power. That night, after we celebrated with Sarah and her family, Liam and I sat in our living room. He looked at me, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Mom," he said, "this feels important. Like what we went through, it actually means something now." "It always meant something, buddy," I replied, pulling him close. "But now we get to make sure it means something for others too." The foundation grew exponentially after Michael's case. We were inundated with calls, emails, messages from people across the country. Stories of lives shattered, justice denied, families broken. It was overwhelming, but it was also incredibly motivating. Brooke left her old firm to become the foundation's full-time legal director, and Marcus remained a dedicated pro bono advisor. We hired a small team, a mix of paralegals, social workers, and administrative staff, all driven by a shared passion for justice. My days became a blur of legal meetings, fundraising events, and media interviews. I found myself speaking on national television, not as a victim, but as an advocate, sharing our story to shine a light on the darkness. The public exposure, of course, meant that my own family was never far from the headlines. Mom and Dad were still navigating their probation, their once impeccable reputations in tatters. Dad had taken early retirement, his law firm a shell of its former self. Mom was still Mom. I'd occasionally see a fleeting, paparazzi-snapped photo of her at a charity event, trying to regain some semblance of her old life, but the carefully curated smiles never quite reached her eyes. Their calls to me ceased entirely after Dad's sentencing. I rarely thought of them, to be honest. The raw wound of their betrayal had faded into a dull scar, a constant reminder, but no longer debilitating. Charlotte was a different story. Her time in prison was transformative in ways I hadn't expected. Her initial letters to Liam were still self-pitying, full of excuses. But then, as the months turned into a year, something shifted. She started talking about the women she met, the classes she was taking, the quiet horror of understanding true consequence for the first time. She wrote about teaching literacy to other inmates, about finding a sense of purpose in the most unlikely of places. And then, there was the last text she sent me before she was paroled. "Avery, I've seen the Foundation's work. I see what you're doing. And I know more than anyone how important it is. I want to help, if you'll let me." That text sat in my inbox for a week. I talked to Brooke, to Marcus, and most importantly, to Liam. "What do you think, buddy?" I asked him one evening after he'd finished his physical therapy. He was stronger now, able to transfer himself with impressive ease, even managing a few steps with his crutches on a good day. He looked out at the moonflowers, blooming in our garden, their white petals glowing faintly in the twilight. "She's trying, Mom," he said softly. "It's not perfect, but it's real now." His words echoed my own sentiments. I met Charlotte at a neutral coffee shop, the same one where she'd first confessed her gambling debts, almost 2 years prior. She looked different. Older, certainly, but also lighter. The desperate sheen of entitlement was gone, replaced by a quiet humility. We talked for hours. Not about the past, not really. We talked about the Foundation, about the real impact of drunk driving, about the systemic failures that allowed people like her to escape accountability for so long. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She asked for a chance to contribute, to somehow make amends for the irreparable damage she'd caused.
It was a long shot, a risk.
But Liam's words kept playing in my head. It's real now. Charlotte started volunteering, anonymously at first, answering phones, organizing files, doing the grunt work nobody else wanted. She didn't seek recognition. She sought redemption. She started a support group for families impacted by drunk driving, drawing on her own painful experience. Her raw honesty, her genuine remorse, resonated with people in a way that no polished speech ever could. It was slow, agonizing work, rebuilding not just relationships but herself, brick by brick. There were stumbles, moments of doubt, but she kept showing up. For Liam, for the other victims, for herself. As Liam entered high school, he started taking advanced robotics classes, fueled by a desire to innovate, to create solutions for accessibility. He joined the debate team, his quick wit and thoughtful insights making him a formidable opponent. He even found a girlfriend, Maya, a bright, compassionate girl who saw past his wheelchair to the incredible person within. His laughter, once a rare and precious sound, now filled our home regularly. He was building his own future, full of purpose and joy, entirely on his own terms. My focus, too, expanded beyond individual cases. The foundation started lobbying for legislative change. We worked with lawmakers to strengthen drunk driving laws, close loopholes for privileged offenders, and improve victim support services. It wasn't glamorous work, endless meetings, drafting proposals, navigating political bureaucracy, but it was essential. We faced opposition, of course. The same powerful interests that had protected my family and Michael's family still existed. But now, we had an army of truth-tellers, a chorus of voices demanding accountability. One evening, years after the whole ordeal began, I found myself sitting on our porch swing, watching the moonflowers unfurl their delicate petals. Liam was inside, Skyping with Maya, their giggles drifting out through the open window. Charlotte was at the Foundation's office, running a late-night support group. Brooke and Marcus were working on a groundbreaking class action lawsuit against a chain of restaurants known for over-serving patrons. The house was quiet, filled with a contented hum. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Jeremy, Ethan's ex-husband. He'd completed his community service, his divorce finalized, and was now a regular anonymous donor to the Foundation. His text was simple. "Thank you, Avery, for showing me what true courage looks like, and for helping me find my own." I smiled. Even the most unexpected people could change. The path to healing, to true justice, is never linear. It's messy, complicated, and sometimes incredibly painful. But standing here, in my real house, with my real life, I wouldn't trade it for anything. We fought for truth, for accountability, and in doing so, we built something far more meaningful than any perfect facade. We built a legacy of hope, of resilience, and of unwavering belief that every single person, regardless of their status or circumstance, deserves to be heard, to be seen, and to have justice served. Liam once asked me if I was okay. I remember telling him, "I'm perfect, buddy." And looking at our lives now, at everything we've built, I can honestly say, with every fiber of my being, that I am. Not perfect, not pristine, just true. And that, truly, is everything. I know our story is unique, full of drama and betrayal. But the underlying fight, for truth, for justice, for dignity, that's universal. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had to fight for what's right, even when the odds felt stacked against you? What did you learn about yourself in the process? Share your stories in the comments below. I'm always reading, always learning, always listening.